All right, I'm not normal.
So future focused that it's leading to like a level of anxiety, I guess.
I want to continue to do things that I didn't think I was ever able to do. I am not normal. There are things that we know, things that we've experienced that other people are still reaching for and aspiring for. And I think I do need to do a better job at exposing people to what we know. Queen, we are in 2024.
Wild.
We're definitely wild. 2023 went by like a Thanos snap. It was crazy. It was really fast. But as you know, we're switching some things up in 2024. For the folks that are watching, folks that are listening, usually we do like live weekly podcasts. But you know, the Queen was like, I want 2024 to be more intentional, right? And I agree. And we switched it up a little bit to where we're going to be utilizing our beautiful home more.
Sprucey.
Right, little sprucey. We were blessed with a new house in 2023, and we're gonna utilize this space better, utilize the consistency better to have quality episodes, right? So what we're gonna do is, not that the previous 327 episodes weren't quality, but instead of doing live every single week, we're gonna have like dedicated mastermind times where we sit down, we research, we outline an episode, and we're gonna give y'all 35 minutes of straight fire. Straight fire.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. King, where can I go to stay connected with us?
Y'all can stay tapped into the show at them4show.com. That's them4show.com. And you can follow us on Instagram at them4show.
Now, let's get into the episode.
So with that being said, this is your first time tuning in. Welcome to the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. I'm your host, De'Von Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. Of course, I have my beautiful, my lovely, my edges laid down queen herself, slick with it. Please introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. And yeah, I'm excited for these intentional episodes. I'm excited for 2024.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be a good year.
Random, Big Sister Slick With It would actually be a really dope name. Not that it would be your name, but like
Slick with it?
Yeah, like imagine that as a Greek intro. Big Sister Slick With It. Like
Funny thing is that our hip hop team in middle school is called Sick With It. Our little phrase was sick with it, you know.
Y'all see the hips and everything.
Like slick with it, you know.
Goodness. Love the energy. But today's podcast, we really want to focus on goals of 2024 and of course reflection on 2023. Really wanting this episode to be helpful for couples, friends, people who are thinking about getting into a relationship, anything like that, just to know where you stand, know where folks' mindsets are beautiful, and just have those really deep conversations about money, about dreams, about marriage. I think sometimes asking questions can be awkward, but I think one of my UVPs, one of my unique value propositions, what we teach our students week 2 of the program, is I ask a lot of questions.
You sure do.
And I ask questions that are like not surface level, even to like the person at the grocery store. I'd be like, what are your dreams this year? And they'll be like, bro, I'm just trying to.
Right, I got a next customer.
You're at Stater Brothers. I need you to just keep it moving, right? Paper or plastic, my guy. Paper or plastic.
My guy.
But I think that's my UVP, and I feel like that has helped me get into a lot of places. But I think that's also why some people don't bring me around other places, because like, not De'Von. He's gonna ask all types of questions. He's
You gotta be ready
serious.
for that.
Yeah, you gotta be in the right mindset. But in 2024, one of the things that I'm trying to do better at, Queen, is owning who I am. All right, so we're gonna get into some deeper conversations. Anything you want to say before we dive into it?
Just that these questions that you're hearing us answer, like he said, like we want these to be helpful for you all, and meaning that you all should be asking yourselves and your partners, your friends, your family members these questions too, just again to get to know folks on a deeper level. You know, how are you is great, but we need to get deeper than that in 2024. Right. Let's check up on people. What are their goals? Because that's also going to help you hold each other accountable. If you really know what people are trying to do, what people are trying to not do, which we'll also talk about.
Right. Yeah. Love it. So before we dive officially into it, we do have to do a quick moment of silence for one of our fans who listen to the podcast, my uncle Kerry, who was a huge fan of just the way that we talked about generational wealth within the podcast, within Black Wall Street, the board game. He would have conversations with my grandma about the topics, have conversations with me about the topics. And he was practicing a lot of the stuff that we talk about within the podcast. So he went on to glory and became an ancestor in December. So we'll do a quick moment of silence in honor of Uncle Kerry Walker. Ashe. Thank you all. If you've lost somebody this year, if you have a family member going through a tough time, just know you are in our prayers and we hope the best for you and the family. Okay. Now, diving into it, Queen, let's start off real light.
You say that and then you laugh as if it's not actually going to be light.
It's funny. No, it's going to be light. So for you, Queen, let's start off with saying why we are doing the Daniel fast. Right? And can you just explain high level what the Daniel fast is and why we decided to do it this year? Because we didn't do it last year. I think the last time we did like the full Daniel fast with like all the rules was 2021 when we were living in CP. So why for you in this stage of life did you feel like it was important for us to do the Daniel fast again, top of 2024?
I do also want to preface, we do the nutritional part of the Daniel fast.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't necessarily do all of the full Daniel fast with like the daily prayers and things like that. We kind of do our own version of it. So I do also want to preface that. Yeah. But I like to do it as just a nice reset. Yeah. I think sometimes we get into like the monotony of life. We get into even just like, again, when we're talking about like our physical bodies, our vessels that we should all cherish. We get into the like, at least I do get into the state where it's like I just want to eat what sounds good, what feels good to me, and I don't even want to say feels good because sometimes it's just what feels good in that moment, but maybe not feel good long term. Because I think what this Daniel fast has taught me is like I do feel good when I treat my body well, when I nourish it with nice fruits and vegetables and nourishing foods, and it does remind me of like, I actually maybe haven't been feeling my best, even though it becomes the normal. That doesn't mean that it's your best. Right. And so, yeah, I feel like I'm actually a little bit more lethargic when I'm not paying more attention, as much attention to.
Lethargic. I've heard it used in context, but what I'm trying to do better this year is like really understanding the words that I use. So when you say lethargic, what does that mean?
I mean just low energy, like low frequency, like, yeah. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, ugh. You know, here we go again. Like I gotta kind of like get myself up. Whereas like these days, I'm like, I'm up. Yep. I'm up. I'm typically up before my alarm. Do I get up before the alarm? No, sir, because it's freezing in the house. And I gotta turn on the heater and let it warm up. But I am up. And so like that's one of the things that shows me that like, okay, this is doing some good. I feel pretty good energy wise, although I do get hungrier throughout the day, and if haven't eaten, that the energy level starts to dip. But sorry, going back, explaining the Daniel fast.
Bring it back, Sinclair. Bring it back.
Explaining the Daniel fast. What we do, our version of it, is basically abstaining from any type of animal products. So we don't eat any meat, we don't eat any dairy products, we don't eat, again, really anything sourced from, except for bone broth. That's the one thing that I still have been eating because it is still very nourishing to get in that natural collagen. Outside of that, we do no animal products. We also do no sugar, no alcohol, and no wheat. So
which means no bread.
No bread, no like flour tortillas. Yeah, it's been, and no fried foods as well. So it's been difficult. Right? A lot of our staples that we would normally have are falling into one of those categories. So it is definitely challenging to try to think of like, okay, how can we keep some type of normal routine? Like as much as possible, I like to like, how can I take a meal that we normally would eat and just make it Daniel fast approved so that it doesn't feel like it's so difficult. So things like chili, like we started eating chili. Did some like greens and chipotle yams,
that was fire.
Right, that we can all make still Daniel fast approved.
Would you recommend other couples to do the Daniel fast or some sort of fast?
I do. I think the top of the year is a great time to realign, to do some type of fast. Whether, again, you can start with just like, I'm just going to eat less meat, or I'm going to eat more vegetables, or I'm going to abstain from added sugar or alcohol. Like, I know alcohol is another thing that a lot of people are trying to cut down on or abstain from altogether. So I would definitely recommend it because, again, it shows you, one, it's difficult, and I think it's good to just do difficult things every now and then to show yourself that you can do it. But I think it also is good to see, like, wow, when I abstain from these things, I do feel better. And then I think moving forward with that mindset, you can start to enjoy those things with a little bit more moderation, knowing that, like, I feel best when I'm not consuming these things in excess all the time.
Right. And going the superficial route, we're also doing the Daniel fast because we're going to Belize soon. And we wanted to make sure we can walk on that beach and look good, look fly.
You know what I'm saying?
So I know I'm 9 pounds down since starting. Queen, how many pounds down?
10.
10 pounds down since starting. Feeling good. So that's going to give us that confidence to walk the beaches of Belize with a Mai Tai or with something in our hands.
I'm going to enjoy it.
Well earned. So with that being said, let's keep it going and talk about, Queen.
Look, we're going to get right back into the amazing podcast. But if you didn't know, in 2017, we created Black Wall Street, the board game, because we thought more families needed to know about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street. More families needed to know about the legacy of Black excellence left behind of Tulsa Black Wall Street, that we can own a Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Salon. We can have a Booker T. Washington High School. We can have an Uncle Steve's Barbecue. We can have a Renaissance man like Simon Berry, who had his own taxi service and bus service that got bought out by the city of Tulsa. We have brilliance in our DNA. We wanted to make sure that your family can play a game that teaches them about this brilliance. So we have Black Wall Street, the board game, right here. We had the first edition available in 2017. That got sold out. We're on the second edition right now, or you can get the beautiful masterpiece version of the game as well. It's up to you. Head to playblackwallstreet.com and get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, to empower you, your family, and generations to come. Playblackwallstreet.com. Let's get back to the episode.
What is something you want to bring into 2024 from 2023? This can be people, this can be a vibe, this can be an experience, a mindset, but what's something that you experienced in 23 that you're like, I like this. This was really good, and you want to make sure it comes with you in the next year?
I mean, traveling. That's just been the last several years. But I feel like we took an amazing trip in March of 2023.
Facts.
That is just, I think, one of the highlights for us since we've known each other. And I just want to...
Minus our wedding. You see how she do me?
I said one of the highlights. I didn't say like the highlight. One of the highlights. And so, yeah, I just want to continue to keep travel as a part of our routine. Again, the fact that we're going to Belize, I'm excited for that. And even if it's, again, just exploring a new part of California that we haven't seen, I like to explore. It is a time that I feel the most alive, the most like tapping into like my younger self and not stressed out about things. And I think it's important to have those times like throughout the year. So that's definitely something I want to bring in, is our exploration and travel adventures.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
What about you?
I'm trying to be a little bit different than you, because that's definitely high on the list.
Yeah.
I think I want to continue to do things that I didn't think I was ever able to do. And I think doing the March trip is one of those things, right? And to give y'all context, this was an entire month.
Yep.
The longest time that I've ever took a vacation. During that time, I was also doing, unpaid leave from my work. If the Queen was doing, unpaid leave, like you weren't working that whole time. So like, I think growing up, I was always taught like you have to work hard, you have to earn your keep, earn your money. And I felt like taking an entire month off was never in the vision. Even when we met, we were dreaming big. It was never, let's take an entire month off and be okay economically.
Right.
So the fact that we were able to do that was just a huge blessing. And I think helps open my eyes to more experiences. I also ran a half marathon this year, which
sure did.
was never in my cars. I don't think growing up I was like, I want to run a half marathon. Negative. Like, it was like 100 yards, 400 meters at the most. And even that I didn't like as a kid. So just having the mindset to say I'm going to run this half marathon, finish it, bones, muscles aching and all, salt all over my face, I think was just a good accomplishment for myself to know, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
So 2024, I'm looking to keep that mindset of, just because you previously thought you couldn't do something or someone told you that you couldn't do something doesn't mean that you can't actually try and accomplish it. So yeah, that's what I'm taking into the year, Queen.
Another half marathon?
Definitely go do a half marathon. Shout out to my man Daniel, who peer pressured me positively into running it. But I think that's a part of the routine. It's part of the culture. Now, every year we're going to try to do one half marathon. I want to do it to where we travel to run it, right? So maybe one year.
You saying we.
You'll cheerlead. Appreciate you.
I just want to preface. I will not be running a half marathon. It's not on my list of things to do. I will do a 10K. If there's a 10K at the same time, I can do that. But
no. I need you full energy to carry me after the race. We can't both be hurting afterwards. But yeah, like being able to go to New Orleans, Texas, the Grand Canyon, like just go different places and run the half marathon or run the 10K, I think is a good way of doing both of the things that we want to bring into 2024.
I'm here for it.
Cool.
You mentioned one more thing that I want to mention is that you talked about Daniel, who positively peer pressured you. And I think when you're talking about people that we want to bring into 2024, definitely want to stay close and tapped in with the other walkers.
For sure. Shout out to the walkers.
Yes, there's a lot of positive peer pressuring happening between the two of us, between travel or health or whatever, parenting, like definitely want to keep them tight knit and close by.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Question number 2, love. What is something you want to leave behind in 2023 as you move into 2024? You just want to lock it into a box, throw it into the ocean, let it sink to the bottom. I'm just trying to think of something dramatic. But what's something that, you experienced in 2023, a mindset, people that you're like, you know what? You can stay right there.
Yeah. I think I have a tendency, and it was definitely prevalent in 2023, to be so future focused that it's leading to like a level of anxiety, I guess.
I feel that.
So I think because we wanted to get this house, and that was a pretty, not a long process, but like it was just in the making for so long, for some years. I feel like the first half of the year where it was like, oh my God, I can't wait to get this house. I feel like I was so inundated with that I don't know that I enjoyed. Like I feel like I don't enjoy the moment as much when I'm doing that. I'm so focused on the future, and so we've got the house, right? We've got the house. We're in a good place. So I do want to do more of like just really enjoying the moment. I think it's always important. I don't want to not plan for the future. I don't want to not think about the future at all. But just do some more intentional, like, wow, let's really sit here and enjoy what we've accomplished, enjoy this moment, enjoy this nothingness, even if there's nothing necessarily going on. I want to do more of that so that life doesn't, because I feel like that's part of what makes life feel like it's going by so fast. Is like I'm always thinking about the future, then the future comes and it's gone.
Facts.
And then, we're here in 2024. So I feel like I really want to just enjoy the moment more. Yeah.
So what does that look like? Is that movie nights? Is that
For
affirmations,
me,
meditation?
Meditation.
Like
I need to get back to my daily meditation. I feel like I was very good about, like maybe 2022, I was very good about having it as a daily practice for like 10 to 20 minutes, doing my daily meditation. And I feel like I started moving into just like spot treatment meditation of like just doing a breathing like every now and then when I needed it. But I do want to make it part of a daily practice again, because I feel good when I do that. I feel like I'm more present, more just calm, more centered when I have a daily meditation practice. So that's one of the things it looks like. And then just being more mindful, like if I'm in this moment of like, oh, I'm so excited to do this, or I can't wait till that, and just being mindful, like it's okay to be excited, but like don't let that inundate all of my thoughts and, make that all that I'm thinking about and worrying about.
Right.
So I think it's just a general mindfulness. Yeah.
I like that. I also need to get back to meditation every day. Like when we were at Canoga Park, every single day I was doing my yoga, meditation, and then my 100 affirmations. And I feel like that really grounded me in the present, in the moment. Haven't gotten back to that in a while. So
Yeah.
I like that. Thanks, Queen. Thanks.
Oh.
For me, something that I'm trying to leave in 2023 is people pleasing. And I feel like I brought this up previously, but I'm definitely a people pleaser, and I have a very distinct story on how people pleasing went against my values, but I still did it out of people pleasing. But don't judge me when I tell you this story, Sinclair. Okay. So I went to what was that store? Went to Food for Less because you wanted some type of herb.
Saffron.
We wanted saffron, right? So
Which wasn't there, right?
It wasn't there. I got something else while I was there. But went to Food for Less, looking for saffron. This was for, I think, like the housewarming party or something. And then I get in line. An unhoused person comes up to me while we're in line, and he has some stuff in his hand. He's like, "Hey, can you help me out? Can you buy this stuff?" I don't take a look at what's in his hand. I'm just like, "Oh yeah, you got a couple items. I'm buying this stuff. Of course, I got you." He puts it on the conveyor belt. I then see it. 2 of these items are alcohol items. And I see it, and in my head, I would never directly buy somebody alcohol or drugs that's unhoused. But I'm like, I already said I was going to do it. It's already on the conveyor belt. I don't want to say no. So it was just like an awkward internal thing. And then we get to the register, and then even the cash lady's looking at me like, "So you about to buy this dude alcohol?" And she was like, "Are you buying this?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm buying it," right? And then I handed it to the dude. Dude didn't even say thank you. But that's a situation where it's like me being a people pleaser in this moment went against my values of not buying people alcohol and drugs. And I feel like there's probably like smaller instances that I do that often where I'm going against my values or going against something that benefits me in order to do something else that benefits someone else. And I think over an entire year, over an entire lifetime of putting other people's needs before you, other than my wife and kids, of course, I feel like it's not good to put myself in a great situation.
I agree.
So I think that's something I'm trying to work on. No, I don't want to be a jerk, right? I don't want to say just no to everybody, but I do need to, I think, take a little bit more time in what I say yes to, and also balancing who I'm saying yes to.
Yeah. And I think it's also okay, like, to just say, like, let me think about it if you're not sure. Like, rather than saying yes or no in the moment, just be like, oh, I'm not sure about that. Let me think about it. So then you can really think, like, ask yourself and assess, like, is this against my values? Is this people pleasing? Do I want to do this? How's this going to affect me and my family, type of thing. So I think that can give you some buffer so that you don't feel like you have to answer in that moment, because even that itself is people pleasing. Like, I need to give them an answer right now. No, you don't.
Right.
You're on your own time, right? Like, so no.
That's good. That's good. The Queen's been my unofficial therapist for the past couple weeks. We've had some really good sessions, just sitting in the car in the driveway. That's my but disclaimer: she's not available for open therapy.
I am not. I just know him well.
Yeah, it's a husband-wife thing. All right, Queen, do you have a question you want to throw in here, or you want me to do it?
Let's see.
You let me know. I'm good with firing from the hip, but if you had something that you were like, ooh, I'm gonna get him with this.
Curveball.
Oh.
What scares you about 2024?
What scares me about 2024 is getting exactly what I've been working for.
Deep. Talk to me
about that. Y'all see it? She got into her mode. So I've been working towards, and we've been working towards freeing the king, right? Me being a full-time entrepreneur. We talk a lot about wealth, entrepreneurship between M4, Play Black Wall Street, And I've always had like a little bit of imposter syndrome when talking about entrepreneurship because I've still had the full-time job while doing it. So that's always been the goal. Like, all right, let's do full-time business. But at the same time, like when we were making that decision to do that leap, it was very stressful to think about relying full-time, 100% on us as entrepreneurs to pay all our bills. It's pretty, not that it's easy to have a job and pay your bills with it, but it's consistent.
Right.
It's stable, it's clockwork. You know, as long as you send a couple emails, you're on your Zoom, you're doing your job that's outlined to the T, that check's coming in, right? Twice a month, same time, same place. But with business and with Play Black Wall Street, what we've seen is there's a wave.
Yes.
To where even when we're doing everything right, even when we're hustling, even when our proposals are good, even when we've hired a full team, even when we're providing a dope product, it can still take a lot of time for those POs to come through, for the checks to come through, for people to say yes, for us to get the insurances that we need. Like there's still other variables. So it was giving me a little bit of anxiety and unsettledness to think that we would be fully dependent on our own business. But I think that's the position that we're at. Like where we're in that time to where it's like, you need to start making the decision. We've been asking to be full-time. We've been asking to grow our lit program. We've been asking to have team members on our team that are creative and want to help build this business. And I think slowly but surely we're getting literally everything that we're asking for in business. Family, personally wise, we've been asking for kids. I've been manifesting twins.
Oh my gosh.
So, what are we being honest right here? Like this is the things that I think I've been manifesting and hoping for in life, and it's scary to get exactly what you've been hoping for.
It would be scary. We have to say this every time. This is not an announcement.
Oh no, not at all. Okay. God, not at all.
It would be very scary to get that, especially because only one of us is manifesting that.
So I think that's kind of what I'm a little scared for, and I don't know if "scare" is the right word, but I feel like that's the word that I usually associate with this feeling. But it's also the same feeling that you get when you're about to get on a roller coaster, right? You're sitting in that line. You wanted this, right? You went to Disneyland. You waited for this. You bought the ticket to be in this line, but you still have like those butterflies, that scary feeling, that exciting feeling. And then afterwards, it's like, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was great. And I think that's what 2024, 2025, 2026 is going to be like. We bought our tickets. We've been putting in the work. We've been standing in this long line of prosperity and entrepreneurship. And at this point, we just have to ride the ride.
Yeah.
Buckle in, hope that we're tall enough, and just enjoy it.
Yeah. And I think, a couple of things to keep in mind is, one, we are both educated. So it's like, I always like to think absolute worst case scenario. That's the way my brain goes. I don't necessarily recommend it, but that's just where my brain goes. Absolute worst case scenario when something happens, like if we needed to go get jobs, we're both qualified to do so.
Right.
But that's not going to happen because our business is going to bloom. And yes, only go in this upward direction. Another thing to keep in mind is I feel like a lot of times when we start abstaining from things is when we start to see the results, right? Even not directly tied to what we're abstaining from, right? So in this Daniel fast, we've seen a lot of good things happen, right? A lot of good opportunities and things that we've been waiting for that have happened during this time frame. So I think sometimes it's like when we let go of those things that feel good, that may feel comfortable, we can welcome in those things that we've been wanting. So, maybe that's a little bit.
So I have sorry, because you were going to a place that I thought you were going to say.
And then I went somewhere else?
No, you went there. It's just, it didn't sound as eloquent as I wanted it to sound. So I just wanted to support. We both have roles in the relationship.
Well, make it sound nice.
Yeah. So I think when you let go of things that give you temporary joy, you make room for things that can give you permanent joy.
Deep.
That's the vibe that I was getting from what you were saying, right?
Yes.
When it's the food where you eat the Chick-fil-A sandwich and you dip it in Chick-fil-A sauce and you get that momentary, this is so good. But you keep doing that for 10, 20, 30 years, that's high cholesterol. Now you're overweight and you get all these other things, right? Whereas if you make room for the kale salad, now you have the energy for the public speaking. Now you have the energy for the dancing. Now you have the energy to play with your kids. You have the flexibility to get on the ground with them, wrestle with your kids. And now that gives you the room for that more permanent joy all throughout life. So if you if you take away the things that you're using for temporary joy, you make room for things that can give you permanent joy.
Yes.
It's exactly
He
what
said.
teamwork, y'all. Y'all better find you a partner. Y'all better find you a partner in 2024 that completes you or amplifies you, might be a better one.
There you go.
How about you, Queen? Thinking about 2024,
Yeah.
other than the possibility of having twins, what
I mean, that
scares
really
you?
is.
That's it?
Not the twins specifically, but, this is the year that we're trying to grow our family. And that, although has been something that we've talked about and manifested for years,
Yep.
it's scary to think that that time is here.
Right.
And like we've had the conversation too, but it's like, it's been us two for over a decade.
Yep.
And so it's just like scary to think
Damn.
about. Right.
Over a decade. We old in here.
Literally. So yeah, we've just spent so much life together. I'm just like, wow, we're going to welcome in this whole new life. Like that's going to take up so much time and energy. I'm just like, wow, it's going to be like, it's never just going to be us two again.
Right.
That's like exciting, but scary at the same time.
And at one point, you may or may not be outnumbered in our own house.
Yeah. Likely going to happen. And we're gonna
You will never win. Listen, kids, you will never defeat us
never.
until we get old, and then you're taking care of us. Another curveball for you. How do you feel about Cat Williams in 2023 or 2024?
Random.
It's very random, but if you've been anywhere, literally on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, radio shows, everybody's talking about Cat Williams because my man started 2024 swinging, and he's very viral right now. So yeah, what are you thinking? How you feeling about Cat Williams in 2024?
I'm not gonna lie to you. At first, I was questioning a lot of what he was saying, but I feel like more and more people are like, no, he's telling the truth type of thing. So I'm like, dang, like it just makes you think about like the industry, like behind closed doors and like things you don't see, how it's presented to us as the audience and all buttoned down and nice, but like what things are actually happening behind closed doors and how people are painted and all those types of things. So yeah, overall, I think it seems like he's trying to like, he's been kind of like the underdog, if you will, in that industry and like the comedy industry. And he's like, nah, this is my time. This is my year. I'm gonna air the dirty laundry. I'm gonna, let the truth out and ride the wave type of thing. So I know he's about to do a tour. We tried to get tickets, we couldn't.
Sold out.
So of course, I think he has something in the cooker, whether it's the tour and other things that he wants to do. And I think that this is his opportunity to definitely bring some attention to himself and his brand and, again, all the work that he's been putting in for his business so that it can be his time, his year. Because, yeah, I think he's been like not too much in the limelight in the past couple of years.
So he's been, and I think what he's trying to show with all these podcast interviews is the fact that he's been very successful.
Yes.
He's saying he has, I think, 17 specials, which is more than a lot of the pillar comedians have. Like Dave Chappelle, dope, doesn't have 17. Kevin Hart, we think, dope, doesn't have 17. Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac, R.I.P., like all these other comedians that are out there that are great, top tier, they still don't have as many lives and specials as this person has. So I think he's considered the underdog, but from his standpoint, he's like, I'm the one.
Right.
I'm literally the best out here. I have the most specials. I'm doing 100 cities tours. Like, I'm him, and people aren't treating me as him, which I think is interesting. But two things that I have. One, I need our man Kevin Hart to say something. Like,
I don't think he's...
Say something. We're huge Kevin Hart fans.
Yeah.
We've been to three
More than
lives,
that.
4 lives.
Probably five.
We saw him like recently in Orange County,
Santa Barbara,
Sacramento.
And I think there's at least one or two
And maybe
more.
one. We probably did 2 in Sacramento.
Yeah.
So I think we've seen him 4 times over the past 10 years. We think he's hilarious. Probably our top 3 comedians.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking for me, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, and Eddie Murphy or Richard Pryor. Depends on how far back I want to be. Y'all let us know what are your top 3 comedians. For you, who are your top 3?
Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart. That third one fluctuates. Yeah. I don't know. Cat Williams is up there. Is up there. Yeah. So is D.L. Hughley.
DL's funny. Look, find you someone who has a good sense of humor and you can laugh with.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
But in general, I feel like I want to hear something from Kevin Hart because he was saying a lot of stuff about his character and about his career. Mm-hmm. And me being a Kevin Hart fan, I'm thinking, that's not true, Cat. Stop it. But I'm not hearing anything from Kevin, so I'm like, what's going on? So yeah, I think that would be nice to hear. But second thing that I'm seeing from the interviews is I feel like Hollywood doesn't turn off.
No.
Right? Like the movies, people play characters, and then obviously on like the red carpet when we see them, TMZ, they're playing a character. But I feel like it's always a story, and they're always framing it the way that they want to frame it. I feel like Cat Williams is coming in showing like, hey, lights, cameras, actions are all over the place, and don't always believe what you're seeing because it's all Hollywood. It's all a movie. It's all a stand-up. It's all a joke, which I feel like is interesting. But what I do like about this different framing of Cat Williams is completely different than stand-up Cat Williams.
Right.
Stand-up Cat Williams is very energetic. He's all over the place. His voice is all high-pitched and all that stuff. But then when you listen to the podcast, he's very serious.
Right.
His voice is a little bit calmer, deeper, very intellectual, right? And I think I like that strong, intellectual black man that he's portraying in the podcast, and still funny. He's still cutting jokes. I like that Cat Williams more than stand-up on stage caricature Cat Williams, to my opinion.
So you would rather him be the way he is in this interview on stage?
Yes. I think that's how Dave Chappelle is. Like when Dave Chappelle's on stage, he's chilling. He's himself. Sometimes he has his vape pen. Sometimes he like, oh, hold on a second, let me go get my cigarette. And he's just comfortable.
Yeah.
He's just 100% him, not doing anything extra. And I feel like when Cat Williams is on stage, like he's doing a lot of extra stuff to where it makes the stories believable, because I thought Cat Williams was that high energy caricature that he portrays on stage. So and then when you see, oh, this person's getting arrested, oh, he's doing drugs, he's doing all this, it's like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense.
Believable.
It makes it believable because of who you portray in movies and who you portray when you're on stage. But then when you sit there calm in your right body and mind, and you're talking about all these different books you're reading, you're talking about philosophers, you're talking about the enslavement of black people, like you're talking about real serious stuff with a serious tone and still able to be funny, why not be that on stage?
Maybe that's what he'll, maybe this is kind of the introduction to his new, performance Cat Williams that hopefully aligns with this person. That would be nice to see. Because of course, now that this video's gone viral, it would be kind of weird to see him, come on stage and kind of do his old caricature type thing.
Listen, always forward, always forward.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to throw that in there just because it's been literally everywhere. I feel like people are talking about what Cat Williams is saying. Even Jair's over here like, yeah, man, I've been seeing it. It's a 3-hour interview, so it does take a lot of time, but I think it makes you think.
Yes.
It does make you think, and I like that. All right. All right, Quinn. I got 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
I got 2 more questions for you. Let's see. You want to go? Let's go marriage. No. Let's save marriage for last. Let's go identity, right? Because we were just talking about Cat Williams and kind of his identity on stage versus his real identity. For you, love, what are 3 words you want to help describe and build your identity in 2024? All right, and these can be words that you hope people use to describe you. These can be words that you feel like you want to just use to describe yourself. Three words could be considered core values in some ways, but what you thinking? I was just saying all that to give you time to think.
Yeah, and I still only have one, so the other two will just be off the dome.
Make it a strong one.
Intentional. I want to be intentional. I want to, and this is more, I think, of what I want to be for myself. I want to be very intentional with where I'm putting my energy, with, the things I'm doing on a daily basis. I want to get better at, having an intentional to-do list of like, this is what you're getting up and doing today. That
to-do list is crazy right now.
Yeah, it is. But I think it's helpful still because, again, it makes me feel like the things I'm doing are accomplishing an overall goal. Whereas sometimes I'm just doing things and I'm like, yeah, this is part of the business or this is what I should be doing. But and then we also talked about the mindset of like just checking things off and how I do feel good just checking things off for the day. So I definitely want to be intentional again about this is what I'm doing for the day. Like before I go to the office and just start doing things, like stop. What are you doing for the day? What is your plan? How does this, work towards your goals? Like we created a vision board, like all those things. I want to be intentional about, getting up and moving my body. I want to be intentional about the things I'm eating and the things I'm consuming, how much social media time I'm getting. I just want to be very intentional this year so that I'm not just in the daily grind. I'm not just going with the flow. Like I want to have intention for everything I'm doing.
Nice.
Two others.
Yeah, so while you think about those two others, I think in alignment with intention, my word is going to be purpose. I definitely want to make sure that everything I'm doing, very similar to what you're talking about, is in alignment with what my long-term vision and purpose is on this planet. And I think I'm getting more comfortable with I am here to educate. Right now I'm reading a book about Carter G. Woodson. And like the book is dope because it goes through like his early life as a kid, the fact that he was taught by his uncles. And if y'all don't know, Carter G. Woodson is the founder of Negro History Week, right, which turned into Black History Month. Also the author of The Miseducation of the Negro. So he's done like so much in alignment with education, with alignment for the Black community. And it's just dope how almost everything in his life was getting him ready for that purpose. So yeah, I think I want to do a little bit more self-reflection with my beautiful therapist here on the things that have happened in my life, good or bad, that are all preparing me for what my purpose is going to be as a husband, my purpose as a father, my purpose as an educator. I really think I'm trying to get zoomed in on purpose.
I like it. My second one is going to be authentic. And in similar alignment, I want to be my authentic self. And I think that like being able to work for myself, work for our own business is definitely a step in the right direction, where I think like having a corporate job, needing to go into the office, like
put on
your face is exhausting, right? I've been there, done that. And I think not having to do that has allowed me to be more of myself throughout the day, and I think has alleviated just a lot of daily stress off of me. But I think there's still work to do. I think just even in a lot of my friendships and relationships, like I want to be able to just be myself, and whether that means that I drift towards certain folks or away from other folks, like that is what it is, and that's what's meant to be, because I want to be in my authentic self. I don't want to be trying to be something or another thing to people please, right? Or to fit this mold of what somebody thinks I'm supposed to be or anything like that. Like I just want to be myself. This is the year where I'm trying to just alleviate a lot of stress, right? Again, talk about like the family growth. Like my big thing is I want to just be able to be in the moment. I want to be able to experience all of that life of that process will bring. I don't want to be stressing about things like people pleasing or, upholding this person that I'm supposed to be. I just want to be me. And I want to even discover what that feels like, because I feel like sometimes, again, we get lost in the trying to be something or trying to put the face on or whatever it is. And so I want to discover and really live in what that authentic self means for me.
Yeah, that's good. And I think the hardest part for me about being authentic is knowing that it's okay for some people not to like that authentic version of you.
Yeah, that is hard.
And I think sometimes you go into work and you want to get a certain reaction, so you wear a certain suit, you wear a certain tie, you put your hair a certain way because you want acceptance from this workplace. But especially within my log journey and maybe in your log journey, like there's stuff that you can't hide.
Right.
Now it's like you're you, unafraid, naked in some ways, and some people are gonna like it, some people aren't. But as long as you like it, as long as you love it, that's all that matters.
Yeah. A really microcosm example of this was the other day when we were at dinner with my parents. Dad, love you. I walked with my edges laid. You know, he calls out my edges because I don't do them every day. Trust me. Like if I'm not on camera, if I'm at home, like I'm just me. But like when I'm gonna be presenting myself or when I'm stepping out, like I like to have the ledges aid. Wow.
The Ledges Aid. Come on, that's a brand right there.
I'm done.
Get you some Ledges Aid.
I like to have my edges laid. I think it just makes the locks look clean. I feel confident. And it is more about how I feel about myself than how anybody else thinks. But I, walked in and my dad was like, "What's going on with your hair?" And I was just like, What? He's like, "It looks like your hair is like painted on your forehead." I was just like, "Oh, does it?" Like, I'm like, "I did a good job then, right?" That means they're laid. And I'm just like, he was probably meant to be like, "What is going on?" But I was just like, I take that as a compliment. That means they're laid. I liked how they looked. I'm happy. Like, whereas before I might have been like, "Dang, you didn't like how my edges." Were other people thinking that? Like, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like more of that. More of the like, okay, you think that? Cool. Well, I like them, so we gonna rock with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, authentic is a good one. Still think of that third one. I'm gonna buy you a little bit of time.
Thank you.
Right. You got intentional. You got authentic. For me, first word was purposeful. I think second word I'm gonna go with, and I'm in between whether I want to go with genius or
You see her? The way she said, genius.
I don't know, genius. Or just intellectual. But I think I like the concept of just being a source of information, right? And I like the concept and the identity of me being a reader. I'm getting like in 2024, I've gotten more into reading every single day. Like there was a time where we were in the middle of watching something on the couch. It was nighttime and I hadn't read yet. I was like, "Oh, Queen, hold on, pause it. I gotta go read for 15 minutes and then we can come back." But I like information.
Yeah.
And I think specifically learning about Black history, learning about different people within Black history, learning about psychology, even health, like just knowing those things helps me move more purposeful in life. So I think I want to claim my nerdiness more, read more books, be able to retain more books. And then of course, I think the ultimate gift to people is knowledge. So me being able to take the time to read this information, make it a little bit more fun, make it a little bit more saucy, bring it up to 2023, and then be able to give that information in a podcast, in the teaching, the courses that we do, and mentoring people, I think is again a way that I gift to the world.
Nice.
So you wouldn't use genius? Wait, what are you trying to say?
No, I would. It was the way you were trying to act like it was going to be so nonchalant, and then you landed with genius. That was the funny thing.
Okay.
You were a genius, King. I think that.
Thank you. That's all that matters.
I think mine is going to be actually along the same lines as I want to be curious.
Of genius? Oh.
Can I go? It's going to be curious. I want to be curious. And like not just curious, but I want to actually like act on that curiosity and like educate myself kind of in a similar way. I feel like sometimes I get in the mindset of like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing right now. So like, don't research it, don't do anything. And I just let it go. But I feel like I have questions, like about the human body, about the women's body, about the childbirth process, like I have so many questions and unknowns about that, and I feel like, again, it's just like, oh, that's not what you're supposed to be focusing right now, so I don't think about it. But it's like I do have a goal and a mission to help women, to help mothers, in that process. So it behooves me, and it feeds into the purpose to look into those things, because me having an understanding of that means I can pass that knowledge on to another person, another family.
Right.
So I want to give myself some time. It's probably going to end up just being some time on my schedule, because again, the barrier right now is like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing, and that doesn't necessarily get me towards any of the goals right now. But again, now knowing that is a goal of mine, I want to set aside some time to allow that curiosity, to do some research, to look at some research studies, to read some articles, to listen to some podcasts, to gain that knowledge and have it be a part of my routine, so that I can, again, just widen. I think I'm in a space where I hear a lot of the same things I already know. So to me, it tells me it's time for me to grow. It's time for me to start looking into something else that I am not familiar with. And although, yes, it's going to be a process, it might be a little confusing. I might need to ask for some help or get a second opinion or whatever, but that's part of the growing process. So I'm ready to, start expanding my knowledge a little bit, especially as it comes to like health and wellness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so what helps me with the daily curiosity or expanding knowledge is like just saying, I'm going to do something for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I think sometimes when we say like, oh, I want to read a book every single day, and then we go through the whole day and like, oh, well, I didn't have time to read today. But it's like, did you have 10 minutes where you could have sat down and listened to a podcast, or did you have 10 minutes where you could have sat down and read a book? Has been helpful for me. So I just want to sprinkle that in.
Thank you.
A little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
You caught it? Thank you. My last one is going to be, I don't know how to say this, love, but I think I'm a very humble person. I think I don't brag about myself, and I feel sometimes even bad when I mention things that are good achievements, right? And I think achievements that I should be proud of, but I don't want to sound like I'm being boastful. I want to sound like I'm being braggadocious, so I usually don't say anything, and I'll be the quiet person in the room. Not quiet in the sense that I'm not talking, but quiet in the sense of I'm not talking about myself and what we have achieved. But I think in 2024 and beyond, I want to get more comfortable and maybe in my confidence in what I've achieved, right? Give me a better word for it. What's the opposite of humble but not necessarily jerk?
I mean, the word that I was thinking of is confident.
Confident?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think if there's a better word while you're talking.
I feel like there's something better, but I want to be more confident. I want to be more proud of what I've accomplished. Because in my opinion,
Prideful, is that not?
Prideful, not quite the vibe I'm going for yet. Okay. In my opinion, I'm dope, right? I think I'm a cool person.
You're dope.
Thank you. In my wife's opinion, I'm dope. Created a board game, wrote 5 books. We own real estate, own our own business. We have a dope team. We have an amazing brand that's creating an impact. So I feel like on paper, if I was reading about myself, I'd be like, sheesh, that guy's really cool. But on the day-to-day, because I don't put myself up that often and I don't brag about myself, I feel like I feel normal. And not that, there's anything wrong with being normal, but I feel like we haven't worked this hard to be normal, right? And I think Jay-Z has a line, I don't know exactly what it is, it's either Jay-Z or Kanye, where he says like, I didn't do all this work to be around the same people doing the same stuff, right? And I feel like sometimes we work so hard, but because we're humble people, because we don't brag about ourselves, it feels like I haven't, and this is her therapy coming out too. But sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough or I haven't achieved enough because I don't say or talk about what I've done. But then when I talk about it, it's like, oh no, you're good. Like you're a dope person. You've done a lot of great stuff. You can stop right now and still be perfectly fine. But yeah, I have that sense of haven't done enough yet.
And I think maybe it's a reframing on like when you say these things, yes, it is partially for yourself, but it's also to let other people know that you are a resource for accomplishing those things, right? If I don't know that you've started a business because you don't talk about it, how can I know that you're a person that I can ask a question about starting a business? If I don't know that you own real estate, multiple properties. How do I know that you're a person that I can come ask about owning real estate? You know what I'm saying? So like think about it more and like what that does for other people once they know that you were a resource for this thing, right? You were on a call with somebody and, you know, because you were able to talk about what you did, they literally, the person leading the call literally turned around and started asking you questions.
Yeah, let me give you all this. Let me give you all this story. So we saw some person on TikTok that was talking about like finances and budgeting and building wealth. And they were on TikTok, they were getting thousands of views. So we're thinking, oh, this is an expert. So we got a call, a couple of us got together and we're on this Zoom meeting and we're asking this person questions about budgeting, about wealth building. So I get on there and I'm like, first off, you know, what's your lane of expertise? So I know what type of questions to ask. That's how he knew already what time it was. He was like, oh, that's a great question. I focus on tax planning, budgeting. And I was like, all right, great. We're thinking about doing a donor advised fund. Can you advise us on, you know, whether that's good or should we go private foundation? His face blank. He was like, I haven't done any of that yet. And I was like, okay, well, how about this? Can you help it? And I just went up, like, asked a whole bunch of questions. He had no answers for the type of questions that I wanted. So then he turned around, he started asking, well, what do you do? What's your business? Can you talk to me about donor advised funds? Can you talk to me about hiring people? And then the entire little webinar switched over to almost me leading that webinar, which is fine, but that definitely put me in a situation where it's like, all right, I'm not normal. I am not normal. There are things that we know, things that we've experienced that other people are still reaching for and aspiring for. And I think I do need to do a better job at exposing people to what we know. I think the flip side of that is I also don't want to be a target. All right. I think when you talk about too much stuff that you know, when you talk about too much stuff that you quote unquote have, now people are like, oh, all right, well, I didn't know they had all that. Well, let me try to take advantage somehow, some way. And I think that's where I've been approaching it. I've been approaching it to be cautious. Don't say too much about what you do or what you have because I don't want to put a target on our back. So I think I need to find that fine line of being a resource and being open to my gifts and what we've accomplished, but also not being ignorant and just bragging about all types of stuff and having our address out there and our location out there. Like, be smart about it. So yeah, this all started with the word.
You said, yeah.
Confident, I guess. I want to be more confident in 2024.
And I was looking up synonyms and nothing's
vibing.
Yeah, no.
All right, if y'all know a word that describes the situation that we just said in the last 2 to 3 minutes, please drop it in the comments to help me out so I can know the 3 words moving forward.
Unless the one that I think applies, but it doesn't sound as sexy, is self-assured.
Self-assured.
Because, right, you want to be assured in the stuff that you do and the stuff that you know and, like, being a resource. But I don't know if that is what you're
I feel like self-confident is probably the closest we're going to get right now until a spelling bee champion drops something in the chat for us. We'll see. So this was supposed to be a 30-minute episode. I have no idea what time we're running at right now. Jaid, do you know how long we're running right now for this episode? We're at 56 minutes. Listen, we try to give you 30 strong minutes, but as you can see, there's some things from 2023 that will continue in 2024.
Apparently.
And us giving you long episodes is one of them. We did have some more questions, but we're not going to answer those questions right now. We'll just go ahead and have those overflow into another episode. But Queen, any final thoughts about 2023 or about 2024 that you would like to give the beautiful people as we end this short and powerful episode?
It's never too late to do this kind of reflection process. Like, even if you're listening to this in February and March, like, it's never too late. It's always a good time to stop and reflect and think about these questions and what you want to leave behind. So don't think just because, I'll just wait till next January. Like, no, don't do that. Like, do it now. If you haven't already asked these questions, if you haven't already thought about what your goals are for the year, like, do that now. It's never too late for that.
Oh yeah, and do it quarterly. So what we've tried to do is we'll have each quarter, right? January to March, April to June, right? Every 3 months, you have a meeting, you review your goals, review how close you're getting to those goals, If you've achieved some, maybe go ahead and put a new one on there, and just time to get away and self-reflect, right? So once a quarter, try to review these things. But we appreciate y'all as usual for tapping into the M4 show. Melanated Married Millionaires in the making. If you haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, what all the other types of podcast places, definitely make sure you like and follow. We appreciate you. I'm your host. I'm De'Von Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. And we have your other host right over here. Queen, what's your name?
I'm Sinclair, aka the health nerd.
Make sure y'all secure the marriage. Make sure y'all secure the love. And of course, in 2024, make sure y'all secure the bag. Peace.